Hey and welcome to another video. My name is Melanie Josephine. I am the author of Love Life, Simplified and Rock Your Au Pair Year. But today I'm going to talk about how you can prepare for Vipassana, the meditation retreat. I only recently finished it. It has been a little bit more than a week since I finished it. And right after, I've written down all the things that I could think of, how you could prepare for it, and I hope that this video will help you. First of all, I've written down 15 things that may or may not help you. I haven't really structured it in physical and mental, but there will be different sorts of advice. So the first piece of advice that I have written down is that before you start attending Vipassana, you could do some back exercises at home. Maybe you are already like a total pro, so maybe you don't need that. But most people I have spoken to had back issues or knee issues during the retreat, and that is because our back muscles aren't really trained. We're not sitting up as much as we need to during the meditations. I think a lot of us have the same issue. We're sitting like this, which is really not very good. And so before the retreat, you can start building up those back muscles. And if you don't have the time for that, or you don't want to do that, what I would still recommend is looking up some back exercises, because when you're there and you're struggling with your back, you can always do these exercises in your break. But if you don't know what exercises there are, you won't be able to look anything up, because you won't have your phone or your computer or any access to the internet. So I would say look up some back exercises before you go. My second piece of advice is to bring some sort of help for the meditations in terms of how you're sitting. So you are allowed to bring your own meditation pillow. Where I went, so the retreat that I went to was in the UK, in Stowmarket, and people were allowed to have like a floor chair. I don't know if that's what it's called, but it's basically kind of like a chair. It's on the floor. And I did not know that you were allowed to bring that. And the first couple of days I was like, damn, I wish I'd known that, because I didn't have any back support and I was really struggling. And in the end of the day, I found my position and it wasn't such a big deal. But if you have the possibility, then you might want to consider that. Also, you can bring any sort of blankets or any sort of support. You are allowed to bring that in. My third piece of advice is get as much out of your mind and done before you go. It's kind of like a no-brainer, but I think it's good to remember that, especially if you have a lot of other things to do before the retreat. Just keep in mind that during the retreat you don't have any access to the internet, so you need to have all your tickets pre-booked, or any bookings that you need for after the retreat. You will not gain any sort of access during the retreat, and so all of that needs to be done. And also what I did with my email, I put an automated response saying that I won't be able to answer any emails in this period of time. Obviously I informed everyone who needed to know that I won't be reached during this time, but it's quite important, so don't forget to let people know that you won't be able to be reached for that time. And then also get any sort of tasks out of the way that might bother you during the retreat. Like you might start thinking, oh man, I need to do this or I need to do that. Get as much out of the way as you can before you go. My fourth piece of advice, trying to understand my own notes. I've written down be prepared for 10 hours and 45 minutes of meditation. I don't know if you can be prepared for that. Yeah, so think about it. That is the amount of hours you will be meditating. I'm not sure if anybody can be prepared for that. 5. They're also going to email this to you, but just so you know this in advance, it will be good to bring a torch and an alarm clock, because you can't use your phone as your watch. You are also allowed to have a watch on your wrist, as long as it's not like too electronical. Like, it can't be an Apple Watch or anything like that. It has to be quite basic, and so that it only can give you the time and nothing else. But you are allowed to have that. I didn't actually need my torch that much. I was happy that I had my alarm clock. There were clocks around the side, but it was nice to have the time right next to my bed, so I would suggest you bring that. 6, lots of white clothes. 7, yeah, so some people went under the impression that it would be possible to wash things at the site, and it somewhat is, but honestly not really. So basically there was a sign: showering or bathing and washing, like washing clothes. But then there were no washing clothes facilities. Like, there was no washing machine, there was no like bigger sink or anything like that. There was just the normal sink where you wash your hands, where you brush your teeth. There was no washing powder provided or anything. So, and not that I was asking for that, but I just want you to know, I personally think it is really best to bring enough clothes, enough underwear for the 10 days, for the time that you're there. I ended up washing 2 shirts, because basically only because I didn't have that many white shirts to bring. If you have enough white shirts, then just bring them. If not, you can, I mean, it's not a big deal, you can wash. But also keep in mind that you will be very, very busy, and you might not feel like you want to wash your clothes in your break. You might actually want to have this time as a real break, where you just sleep or you go for a walk. When I first arrived at the site, I met a girl. She had done the retreat before, and she was saying that every break she went to sleep. And as the retreat started, I could see why she did that. So yeah, just to make your life easier, have these things prepared. That's what I would say. Advice or tip number 8. Yeah, so this depends on whether you are a spiritual person, whether you believe in God, the universe, a higher power. I don't really mind what you call it. But I think if you are going to this sort of retreat, then you probably are. And what I would say is, write a list of intentions. What answers would you like to receive during the retreat? I did that. And I'm really, really glad that I did that, because I received mostly, if not all, the answers that I was looking for. So if you are planning to do this and you're taking 10 whole days out of your life, why not doing it with intentions? But make sure that those questions are intentions and not expectations, because that is a very, very different thing. Don't expect these things to be answered. Just have the intention, put those things out there. That's what I would say. Number 9. I wrote down, why don't you do a few special things before you go on the retreat? You know, when you're on the retreat, you're kind of cutting yourself off from everything. No internet, no TV, no music, no sounds, only meditation, and then obviously a very basic diet, vegetarian diet, which is fine. But why don't you treat yourself before? Like, have that last piece of chocolate or have that last coffee. By the way, there was instant coffee, but I thought if I'm going off everything else, I may as well go off coffee. So that's my piece of advice. Maybe the last few days before you go, treat yourself to a few things. Number 10, oh, I already said that. Let everyone know who needs to know that you won't be available. Number 11. So when I got the email, it said, I think that's what it said, that you were allowed to wear leggings, but when I arrived at the site in the leaflet that I read, it said that you were not allowed to wear leggings. And then I asked the lady, and she said, yeah, you can wear leggings, but only with a really long t-shirt. So that was basically my issue. I had a lot of leggings, but I only had one long t-shirt. So just be aware, if you want to wear leggings, that you need to have long t-shirts, basically t-shirts that cover your bum, okay? Number 12. I can't read this. Something that... okay. Okay. You know, it even says in the leaflet, this is not a vacation. And believe me, it is not. So, I wrote down, maybe bring something that reminds you of someone. Maybe bring like a ring or a necklace or a bracelet, or maybe even a teddy bear, who cares? Or like a t-shirt. Like, for example, I brought my boyfriend's t-shirt and my boyfriend's jumper. Because you are so limited in what you have during that time, why not bring something that really helps you in, like, you'll have ups and downs, and that really helps you in the down times that you can hang on to. Number 13, have your tough time affirmations ready to use. So that's kind of along with the last point. So when I had a difficult time, so I've done a lot of meditations and also affirmations before I went on this retreat. And when I came to like a really, really tough point in the retreat, what really helped me was saying those affirmations to myself. So for example, I'm not gonna say what I said to myself, but you know what affirmations are. You can tell yourself you're beautiful, you're loved, life flows effortlessly. Just, you know, have something ready that you can grab when times are rough. Number 14, never stop believing in yourself. Yeah, if you want to get through this, believe that you can. Number 15, know that you go in your own speed and don't bring yourself down. What I mean by that is, so the schedule does say 10 hours and 45 minutes meditation plus 1 hour and 15 minutes of lecture. When I was on the train back home, one girl said to me that she thinks that they make the schedule so tough because they know nobody will actually be able to keep it up. So basically just to push you to your limit, but in the end of the day, you have to take care of yourself. Now, actually, I don't know if this is true. This is just an assumption of this girl, and actually, I could see that this might be true. I noticed that in the last couple of days, I was like really wearing out, and I just said to myself, you know, I have to look after myself. And so when I needed to go to sleep or when I needed to go for a walk, Sometimes I also did that in the times when we were meant to meditate, obviously not during the mandatory meditations, but there's some meditations where you have like free choice where you meditate. And yeah, when I felt that, okay, I can't take it anymore and I need to look after myself, sometimes I went for a walk during these times and I saw other people did the same thing. So even though the schedule says such and such, if you don't feel well or if you feel you need something else, do that. Basically, whenever we had the choice, I just asked my inner voice, what is the best thing for you right now? So like meditate in the hall, meditate in the bedroom, go for a walk or go to sleep. Those are basically the only options. And then my inner voice told me. So I would say to you, ask your inner voice, be guided, and don't get discouraged. And also, when you have a tough day, at the end of the day, just say to yourself, just go to sleep, tomorrow is another day, and just carry on. And then by the end of the 10 days, you can decide whether this was for you or like what clarifying things you found out about yourself or your life. And yeah, so those were my 15 preparation tips for going to Vipassana. I hope this helps, and if you're going, good luck and lots of love. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see more videos like this, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Hi again! One more thing to add. If you want to have an amazing love life and you want to transform your love life, I have written this amazing book, Love Life Simplified. It goes through so many things that are related to love life. I wrote it because I've struggled in my love life in the past, and I want to share my experiences, other people's experiences, and what I've learned. All my research went into this book, and if you are struggling, or even if you're not struggling but you don't know how to have an amazing love life, this is the book for you. And then I would also like to mention my other book, Rock Your Au Pair Year. If you want to be an au pair or you know anybody who wants to be an au pair, this is your guide and it will definitely help you to have an amazing au pair time. Okay, that's all I want to say. Bye!